Okay, so you're gigging lots and you're trying to make some money, but now it's time to collect that money and you've got to send out some invoices to the band leaders or clients who are hiring you to provide your music services. Well, today we're going to talk about why you should never use an invoice template, a musician invoice template, again. And we're going to share some great reasons why not to do that and what you can do instead, of course. So, if you're new here and just checking out Back on Stage for the first time, we are a web platform for blue-collar musicians, bands, and DJs who want an alternative to all those messy spreadsheets, email chains, and text threads that we are all so used to living on. We're a live music booking management software that helps you generate revenue and gig more by combining lead generation, client follow-up, invoices and contracts, income tracking, musician scheduling payouts, set lists, and so much more into one really easy to use app. All you've got to do is head over to backonstageapp.com to learn more and start a 30-day free trial. Okay, so back to today's video. All right, so if you're really insistent, I will preempt this video by saying that if you really want to keep doing your business practices as if you were in the 1980s, you can head over to the link to the blog post in the description to this video and download this very musician invoice template. You can use it on any gigs you want, but here's why I would recommend you not do that. First of all, it's a big waste of time. You're going to have to fill in your name and information at the top here, change this date, fill in all your client information there, come up with some kind of invoice number, put a due date on there, put in your service information, a rate amount, discount if you've got it. Don't forget to include why this invoice is being sent in the first place. And at the bottom here, you're going to want to put on some instructions as to how they can actually send you the money. Okay, that's a lot of work already. Once that's all done, you're going to want to save this as a PDF. No, don't just send the share link because they'll be able to edit that. Send this as a PDF, attach it in an email, and send that off. Once that's sent, I would recommend one more thing. Set up at least 2 folders on your computer. One is going to be for invoices that you've sent but that are unpaid, and the other is going to be for paid invoices. Once you receive a payment from an invoice, you're going to want to go get that invoice from the unpaid folder and move it to the paid folder. That way you can keep track of who you need to keep following up with for money as time goes on. Okay, that was a lot. That's a lot to kind of keep on top of and stay managing. So what is the better way? Obviously, these invoices are time consuming, they're error prone, they're hard to track. As I said, you've got to manually shuffle them around from folders all the time. And the other big thing is that it's really hard to collect tips when you're sending invoices to people like this. Now, if you're just a sideman in a band and it's just band leaders sending you payments, you're probably not going to get a ton of tips that method anyway. But if you do solo performances and you contract yourself out to clients who pay you directly, tipping is a great source of extra revenue, and it's nearly impossible to get when you're adding a whole bunch of extra friction to the buying and payment process by requiring someone to physically write you a check and mail that, or log into their bank and send you a transfer manually by adding you as a payee and referencing all these numbers. That's a pain in the butt for them. So what is the better alternative? Well, first of all, let's check out Back on Stage here. I'm logged in to a Musician Pro account, and all I have to do to create an invoice is a couple of things. First of all, every invoice inside Back on Stage is linked to a booking. That way it's really easy to look at your calendar and see exactly which bookings belong to which invoices and so on. So to create an invoice, I first need to create a booking, and that is a really easy, quick process. All I'm going to do is select a date here. I'm going to give it a title. I've already got my client John Smith entered in here, and I'm going to confirm that. The last thing I need to do is choose which service I'm providing. I'm a piano player. I've already got my solo piano performance noted on here. I don't need to worry about anything else for the purpose of an invoice creation. So I just filled in 5 fields and I hit save and close. Now all I have to do is hit this magic client invoice button right here. And voila, we've got a client invoice. It's filled in all the information for me. It's put my service, my rate, everything is ready to go. We've even got the booking details mentioned here. All I have to do is hit save and close, and I'm done. I've created my invoice. Now to send it off, I'm just going to close out of the booking creator mode here, come over to my booking page. I hit this client tab, and from here I go over to documents. Now here's my invoice. It says here I've created the invoice, I haven't sent it off yet, and all I have to do is hit send. This is going to open an email generator window. I just say, here's my invoice. I can't spell hi today. Hi, John. Oops. Here's my invoice. Okay. Now you can write a better email than me, but what they're going to receive in their email in the footer is this little preview here that just tells them they've got a new invoice. They can click here to sign or pay now. And that is going to take them to their client portal. So once I've sent that email off, that is sent successfully. What the client is going to see is this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the client portal. They're going to come to this dedicated page for this booking. They're going to see the amount that is due. And as they scroll down, they can see this beautiful invoice that you've just prepared for them, and they can download a copy if they need to. Now, what's super cool about this right here is they can pay this invoice right here online. If you integrate with PayPal through your Back on Stage account, that will become an option here as well. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh no, there are PayPal fees. And yes, there are PayPal fees. But listen up, I've got some amazing tips around this PayPal integration. So yes, depending on where you are in the world, PayPal is going to charge around 3% for processing a transaction. Now, you just can't get away from that. PayPal's going to charge that, Stripe charges that, Square charges that. Anytime you're processing a credit card, as a merchant, you will pay a fee. Now, some people think, oh, the easy solution to this is to add that as a line item on my invoice and charge my client even more money if they want to get out their plastic. Now, I would advise against that. Imagine you're at the grocery store, you get to the till, you've got your $100 worth of groceries, and you're like whipping out your plastic, and suddenly the teller's like, or the cashier's like, oh, sorry, if you want to pay with credit card, I need to charge you another 3%. Well, that's going to be a little bit shocking. You're going to be like, why didn't you tell me that when I walked in the door? This isn't great business. You shouldn't be slapping me with fees at the very end of my experience here that I wasn't expecting. So don't do that to your clients. Instead, there are a couple of great ways to get around this fee. The first one is build it into your pricing. Just assume people are going to want to pay with their credit cards and add that into your fee so that you're prepared to cover that. Now, if you want to sidestep the credit card system, you can offer people a discount instead and say, hey, if you want to pay me with cash or check or bank transfer, I will give you a $30 or $50 or whatever it is discount on your bill. That's a lot more enticing to people, and they feel like you're doing them a favor rather than slapping them with some kind of penalty just because they want to pay you, which is not great. The other thing is, if you are allowing people to pay with credit card, our studies here at Back on Stage have shown that if clients are able to pay you with a credit card, they're 8 times more likely to give you a tip. Now, obviously, we're talking about the North American market here. Other markets in the world aren't so tip happy. But if you can get a tip out of your client 8 times more often, that will very, very easily cover the cost of that 3% fee. For example, if I'm charging my client $500 here and they want to give me even just a 10% tip, sorry, I've got to select that. If I'm going to put a 10% tip in here, okay, now they're paying me $550. 3% of that is going to go to the credit card company, but I'm still making 7% more money on this gig. So ask yourself, what's better, right? That 7% more money or no more money? Obviously the 7%. So use credit cards wherever possible and reduce that buyer friction. Make them happy to pay you and make them want to give you that tip. So that's how easy it is for a client to send you a payment on your invoice. So we've talked about generating the invoice and how easy that is, how unprone to errors that is within Back on Stage because the whole process is essentially automated for you. We've talked about how easy it is for the client to pay you, how you're going to actually make more money with those tips. And the last element here is really coming down to invoice tracking. So if you do the old PDF model, you're going to have to track all of that manually. Whereas inside Back on Stage, invoices that you create are automatically tracked for you. As soon as they become overdue, they'll pop into this invoices overdue category right here on your dashboard. So they're super easy to find. And if you scroll down to the bottom here, this is some visibility into your finances that so many musicians struggle to get their hands on and really crave. This shows you exactly how much income you're going to be making in the future. If I click on that, I can see all my upcoming gigs and the amounts I'm going to be paid for those. Any overdue invoices here, I can easily see that I might need to follow up with those clients, or if I'm a sideman in someone else's band, maybe send a note to that band leader. And then of course, all the income that has actually come in. I have a link to the booking there and a link to my invoice there as well. At the end of the year for tax time, it's easy to export all of this information to a spreadsheet file and you're ready to go. So that is control over your finances and invoice tracking that you've never had before, and that is going to really be a game changer for you. Now, we've been talking about generating invoices for your clients who are hiring you for gigs. This really applies to people who are not using back on stage, or bands, I should say, rather, that are not using back on stage. If you're the only person in your band that's using it. However, if you can get your band leader to sign up to back on stage, you don't necessarily need a Musician Pro account. If all you do is sideman work, if the bands you're in are subscribed to back on stage, then you get a free musician account. If you head over to our backonstageapp.com site and head to pricing, you'll see this musician free forever plan here. That is what you get when you sign up under someone else's band. And when you do that, you don't have to do any of the stuff we just talked about. All the invoices that that belong to the gigs you're doing with those bands will be completely automated for you. For example, take a look here. This is a gig. I'm logged into my musician space here, and this is a gig that I've got through this demolition band that I'm a part of. Inside this booking, I can come over to finances and I will see that this band leader has promised me $300 and that this is unpaid. Okay, now let's take a look at a gig that I did for this band just a little earlier this week. If I open that up, come over to the finances tab, I can see that I was promised $300 for this gig as well, and I've been paid because this invoice button has appeared. When I print the invoice, that's just going to open it up as a PDF, and I can see right here, Back on Stage has auto-filled this entire thing for me. It's got my information up here, the information of the band down there. We've got an invoice number, we've got the services that I provided, the rate, all the gig details are here, and I've got the fact that he sent me an e-transfer on such and such a date and for the amount that I had been promised. That was all done for me. I didn't have to lift a finger. As soon as my band leader triggered my payout, this invoice was generated on my behalf. And once again, this is accessible from my dashboard as well. So you can log into any booking to see that you've been paid, but from the dashboard, I can scroll down here and see here is that income, here is that invoice belonging to that gig. It's all super clear. So I don't have to worry about that folder shifting on my computer that we talked about before. I don't have to worry about trying to remember who hasn't paid me and who has. It's all going to show up right here, and it's super easy to navigate. Okay, so in today's video, again, we have chatted about why you should never use an invoice template again for your music gigs, and shared why that is such a pain in the butt if you want to stick to the old 1980s method of doing that. So hopefully we've convinced you to never use a musician invoice template again. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you've got any questions about this, post them in the comments on these videos. We will happily respond to you. We love to hear from you. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, please go check out backonstageapp.com. We hope to see you on the other side.